Claudia and Creative Mornings and the whole village that can make this work, and everybody here who came this hour and maybe without coffee. So, all right. How about we start with a short exercise? If we can all take a deep breath and then close our eyes. We're now sitting in a time machine, and we ask the time machine to take us all the way to 2030. Vroom. And when we arrive there, it's a Friday morning, and we're getting ready for the day. Where do you see yourself? Where are you? What are you hearing around you? Is there someone there with you? Do you sense any smells or scents? What's your intention for the day? How are you feeling? Who are you? Try to pay attention to all details. Colors, smells, feelings. And try to immerse yourself in that image you're creating. All right. You can now slowly open your eyes. Take the time machine back to 2024. Vroom. I don't know how a time machine is sounding. Welcome back. How was 2030? Oh, perfect. All right, but now it's Friday, 25th of October, 2024, and we gathered here to talk about imagination and vision. So how about we start with some definitions? Imagination is the ability to create mental images, concepts, or ideas that are not immediately present to the senses. Imagination is open-ended, exploratory, and unconstrained by reality. Vision, on the other hand, is the ability to create a clear and concrete picture of a desired future state. Vision is goal-oriented and is often tied to reality and actionable steps. Alright, so vision or imagination, or do we need both? Imagination is the creative ability to go beyond the current world, while vision focuses on the future, shaping the future with intent and purpose. But how do these abstract concepts translate into real world? They are powerful tools that they are powerful tools that really help us to create a better future. But it's not enough just to imagine. We also need to create a clear vision of where we want to get, and then take action to make that vision a reality. Let me share a story. It is my story, or a story of a collective of individuals just like you who came together and used their imagination and vision to create more impact. Let's travel back to 2018, 2019. Let's imagine another time machine. Back then, I traveled a lot. So I missed my communities and my friends. That's why I joined an online collective of digital nomad freelancers to work together, find friends, and share the struggles of being a freelancer. We realized quite quickly that among many other things in common, we were all concerned about more or less same things, like climate change, injustice, pollution, consumerism, and so many more things. How did we end up to be so concerned about topics that were really not mainstream or headline back then? Because we were traveling a lot and experiencing the effects of climate change and pollution firsthand. We were desperate to take action, but didn't know how. Back then, we were working as copywriters, marketers, translators, web designers, communicators, and so on, with nothing to do with climate science or sustainability. So, similar to CreativeMornings, but in a more private setup, we started to meet every month on a Wednesday afternoon, online, to talk about how can we become part of the solution. Some topics we talked in our calls, we included climate-friendly diets, changing our banks, regenerative travels, even writing letters to our elected officials. We talked about our carbon footprints and our commitments. And we touched even heavier topics, like motherhood in the climate crisis. Why am I sharing this story today? Because it all started with imagination and trying to create a reality for ourselves. In short, we wanted to use our skills and talents for good. We wanted to do impact work, and we wanted to hang out together, even professionally. So what we were doing in these meetings, we were trying to shape a vision for the future of ourselves as individuals, our businesses, and for the communities we were part of. Fast forward to 2024, these young women you've seen on the other slide are working and collaborating on a regular basis. And most of us are doing impact work, helping organizations in understanding climate change and sustainability. And more importantly, inviting people to imagine a better future, more abundant and healthier future for everyone. This is my personal story. How I started to work in sustainability, and I'm sharing it often because I'm the living proof that change comes from training and flexing the imagination muscle, because it is a muscle. Then shaping a clear vision and taking the action as a collective. There's a lot to talk about imagining and visualizing, so that would be a topic of another talk. But I found this quote explaining perfectly how visualization works. Comes from an actor. Visualization works if you work hard. That's the thing. You can't just visualize and then go eat a sandwich. Each of one of you here has the potential to use their imagination and vision to shape a better future. So many people in all corners of the world are using imagination to create impact and change. So in the next few slides, there will be many figures and facts and numbers. But I just want you to take the order of magnitude or the impact that some people, brave people that really believed in their vision, made these things happen. Do you know that about 90 million tons of textiles we throw away yearly? That means about 1 truck of rubbish that ends up in a landfill every second. Anshu Gupta from India, known as the Clothing Man, had the vision to create a barter between underutilized material and community village labor. And with that, triggered many large-scale development projects. This is how Gunj was born. Their impact is just mind-blowing. In their years of activity, they built more than 96,000 community development projects. They have created 1.6 million days of work, touched 18 million lives, and handled 63 million kilograms of materials. This is one example of so many. Imagine that governments understand that for every €1 we invest in bicycle infrastructure, we could save up to 38 million in national health budgets. That's why the city of Utrecht in Netherlands encourages their citizens to use bicycle and public transport to commute instead of cars. So this is the world's largest bicycle parking. It's a 3-story bicycle parking that can store more than 12,000 bikes under the central station. A few corporations get most of the money we spend on food. And actually less than 15% of what we pay goes to the farmers. So we really need more transparency on the food value chain and how we set the price. With this vision in mind, a democratic food organization in France called C'est qui le patron, or in English, Who's the Boss, is a community-led organization. Consumer shareholders can vote which products go to the shelf, but most importantly, the price and how much goes back to the farmers. So throughout their first 4 years, they launched more than 30 products that are sold via big supermarket retailers. By 2020, they sold to 6.5 million households in France and expanded to 10 countries. And by now, they reached 14 million consumers, they supported more than 3,000 farmers, and they have more than 50,000 people involved in the cooperatives. So speaking of cooperatives, this is another great example. This is Bologna, a city in Italy of about 389,000 people. 2 out of 3 inhabitants are part of a cooperative, and 30% of the region's GDP comes from co-ops. In 2016, the city introduced Civic Imagination Office. And with this, citizens would get a shared responsibility in shaping policy and the future of the city. And within just 2 years, they launched more than 480 pacts. From community gardens to 2 libraries, from painting murals to repurposing empty buildings as community centers. In 2024, the construction sector accounts for 20% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. What if we start building with the materials we have locally, natural homes, or create a new economy for the building materials? This is one of my favorite examples. Children were asked to imagine a new school. So the pupils asked for a building without walls that looks like a garden and a spaceship. The result, house within living skin for insects and fungi, is one of the most inventive buildings in the world. And this is an actual school in Spain. Let there be no doubt, each and every one of these visions were once considered impossible. Yet, they became reality and transform the lives of millions, if not more. I will share with you a quote, which I'm sharing in all my workshops and trainings, especially when we have to brainstorm ideas and solutions. And it comes from a university professor. Any useful statement about the future should at first seem ridiculous. When I first dwelled in the sustainability world, I thought that facts and figures are paramount. While this is certainly important to understand the state of our world, I've come to realize that imagination is equally crucial. Creating that safe space and inviting people to imagine and envision a new world, a new role for themselves, a new way of doing business. How did we end up here as humanity, dealing with so many crises and challenges? Peers in my field would say that climate change crisis, it's a behavioral crisis. Others would say it's a disconnection crisis. Many think it's a lack of political will to do the right thing. Others say it's an inequality crisis. And I agree with all of them. The answer is complex, and these are all realities. The more I understand, the more convinced I am that we are where we are, and we're not changing fast enough because of lack of imagination and vision of a future that we can create. Now, going back to the time machine, this is how a time machine looks like, I think, which took us all the way to 2030. I won't be surprised if the image you've created left a nice feeling in your body. Am I right? Yeah, a lot, and I saw you, so many of you smile. Some of you maybe feel a surge of excitement or even impatience to get there, to that Friday in 2030. And that's the power of imagination and vision. We don't need to have everything figured out. We only need a strong sense of longing and an urge to get there. Thank you.